Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Thursday, it's time for a new LonsTV. It is not Web Series Wednesday, but I'm going to review a web series anyway because I feel like it, because that's what I do. I do what I feel like. It's my show, after all. So anyway, I need a new one-line bio for myself for sites like Twitter and other websites, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I still don't have another full-time job, but I've got enough work doing some consulting that I really don't need to worry about it for right now. It's actually coming along pretty well, and I'm working with a bunch of different companies. But the one real problem with this situation is that I don't know how to summarize that on like Twitter without seeming like one of these douchey, like, oh, I'm a social media expert. Like, I make fun of those people and I hate on those people and I can't become one of those people, but I'm really having trouble thinking of how to describe what I'm doing for these companies without sounding that way. I'm consulting startups and websites about building web communities and about, using social media. I mean, if that's not if that's not being a social media and web content and community consultant, I don't know what is, but I'm actually doing it, and I want to just be able to write, like, maybe that's what I'll write, actually, now that I've thought about it live on the air. I'll write, like, web communities and social media consultant. No, I really do it. Like, people actually give me money. Like, maybe that's about 160 characters. I think that'll work. But anyway, it just kind of sucks. And it made me think. I've been thinking a lot about what people write in their bio, and I've been looking at people's bios more since I've been thinking about it. And I was ranting today and on Twitter about people who put entrepreneur in their bio, which is I've been seeing a lot lately. People who put entrepreneur in their bio, but then they don't link to or list the name of a company that they started. And it's like, well, isn't that integral? Like, wouldn't you think that you would then put, like, what company you started instead of just putting that you were, generally, like, just entrepreneurial in life? I mean, like, if you were Donald Trump, you wouldn't have to, because it's like, my new company has my same name. But, like, if you're, most people, you would think they would want to say, like, and, seltzerwaterforsale.com right here, go check it out. So anyway, I've just been paying a lot more attention to that, and I don't want to write just, like, something cheesy, like, I'm smart and I'm on the internets or whatever. Like, I'd rather just have the simple fallback like people who have full-time jobs do of writing what their full-time job is. So anyway, if you have any great suggestions for me, definitely do leave them in the comments below. So anyway, today I noticed there is a podcast out there about web shows that reviews them and talks to creators called Indie Intertube that I have not seen. You can check it out at indieintertube.tv. I definitely will check it out now that I know about it, but I really didn't know about it until very recently. And I saw that they gave out awards. They had their own awards for web shows that they gave out today, and it's great, actually. I'll put the link in the description because it lists, like, dozens of shows, and some of them I've heard of, but some of them I've never heard of, so it's a great list to just work off of shows that I should be checking out that other people have recommended. So valuable purely on that level. Plus, I saw that they did have a Best Guest category, and they gave awards to Mark Gantt and Felicia Day. So it's okay, everybody. They qualify as Web Video Awards because Felicia Day and Mark Gantt have received trophies. I know everybody was worried about that, so you can all relax. It happened. And I noticed one of the categories they had was Best Additional Content, and Black Box TV, the YouTube channel, won. And first of all, I couldn't agree with that award more. Every episode has commentary and behind the scenes, and, like, they really do a good job of documenting how the show is made and put together, which is great, but just generally, it's a show I've been watching and enjoying, and it just never occurred to me to, like, review it before, and I don't know why, but I've been watching and enjoying it, so I figured I would share that with the LonsTV viewers. Basically, it's a horror/fantasy/sci-fi anthology series, which is a really clever use of the sort of medium of YouTube, and not a lot of people are doing that. A lot of the YouTube shows and web shows you see, they have that, they have a narrative kind of structure that are fictional shows. I mean, aside from stuff like, I don't know, Rocket Boom and This Week in YouTube and that kind of thing, which are, different entirely. Fictional shows tend to sort of have arcs on YouTube and on the web, and doing it anthology style is actually very clever, and gives him a chance to sort of work in a lot of different kind of mini genres and subgenres and do different kinds of stories, but maintain a similar sort of style and tone. And Tony Valenzuela, the guy who sort of puts the show together and directs the episodes, definitely does have a very cinematic and very definite sort of style that you could put your finger on, and that's just so refreshing in and of itself. On YouTube, I feel like a lot of web shows, there's this ethic of, the technology is here, we can tell stories, we can use cheap equipment and just churn it out and use this medium to tell stories. And there's so much excitement around that there's not that next level of like how the stories are told and working out some of the some of the details and working out a real visual sort of aesthetic for it. And you could tell that Valenzuela approaches this show very cinematically. It's built around, shots, and there's a lot of thought put into composition, and it's like watching a mini movie, which is pretty rare still at this point for the web, and which I really appreciate. And the anthology nature of the show really gives them an excuse to sort of just try a lot of things out that might not work as well if you were reined in by like consistently telling a story about the same characters week in, week out. And also there's makeup effects and gore. I mean, it's a very professional production. It's really put together well. And like I said, it's sort of, the show itself is like Twilight Zone-like. Most of the episodes have some sort of twist at the end or shock ending, and many of them have like recognizable YouTube faces on them. I believe iJustine starred in one of the first episodes. So it's not surprising that it's gained some level of prominence and people have seen it. And the performances, for the most part, are surprisingly really solid. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but, a lot of shows like this are working with people who are just beginning their sort of acting careers, don't have that much experience. And with this kind of genre material, the temptation, I think, for a more amateur actor would be to go really big with it and overplay it, and there's a lot of restraint. It's pretty subdued generally. Also subdued is the soundtrack, which is really well done, really creepy, sort of slowly builds tension, and that's great. If you want to jump in and check out an episode, I do recommend. I think it's the 8th episode. It's called She Deserved It. Was written by Bernie Sue, who also did Compulsions for you web show fans that will recognize that one, which is another really cool show you should check out. And that one, it has a good setup. It's got a great twist ending. It's one of the better twist endings, and it's just a good introduction to like the kinds of stories that the show tells and the general style. And it's got this, it looks like a movie. It's got this muted sort of blue tone. It somewhat resembles a Twilight movie, but darker and not sparkly, I promise. So that's a good jumping in point. And then check them out. There's only about 10 or 12 episodes so far. Maybe 9 or 10. It shouldn't take you that long to sort of jump in. And I think you watch 1 or 2 and you get kind of sucked in. You want to see what the rest of the stories are. By the nature of being an anthology show, it's not entirely consistent. Some episodes are much better than others. But overall, as the general level of quality, I would say it's among the best YouTube channels out there right now. So definitely recommend it. It's called Black Box TV. Check it out. That is LonsTV for today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. My mouth and throat for some reason are very dry tonight, so I'm cutting it a little short. 8 minutes. It's not short. What am I talking about? So anyway, I'm just afraid you can hear me doing that like mouth sound where you can hear me clicking, which is just gross. So this has taken a dark and unnecessary turn. Thanks everybody for tuning in. That's today's LonsTV. Subscribe if you haven't. I would appreciate it. I will see you all tomorrow.